Hey, good people, good folks of the world. I'm back to talk a little bit more about the last idea that I posted, which was about maybe and maybe not being the best answer to anything. And I'm specifically wanting to talk about Mercury, the Mercurial S shape between the symbol in the symbolism of the yin and the yang, which is symbolic of the wholeness, the extremes, the this, that, the back and the forth of everything, with a balanced curvature in the middle, which by Terence McKenna, that's where I derived it from. I don't know where he did. The S in the middle, the shape in the middle of the yin and yang that divides the black from the white, can be referred to or thought of as the Mecurial river between the yin and the yang. Okay? Right. So, and then I talked about how Mercury, when liquid, Mercury is one of the three elements in alchemy and probably other schools of thought and ideas. One of the three elements that comprises everything in the universe. And the three elements being salt, sulfur, and mercury. All right. So they're like the building blocks of everything. These elements, these substances. Okay. So mercury is this funky thing where when we think of it in literal terms, it can be solid, it could be liquid, right? Okay, it's a heavy metal. It's a heavy metal, and when liquid, it takes on this generalized liquid form with the attribute of, if you looked at it and you said, and somebody asked you, what does mercury look like? You would say it looks like a mirror. It has a reflective surface when it's liquid. Okay, so I'm sure many of us have seen what this looks like. Um, and it's funky. It's quick drying, and it dries flaky sometimes, and it's funky. But when you look at it, Terence McKenna and also more specifically Alan Watts really spoke to this about how, isn't it interesting how mercury is invisible to us because all it does is hide behind this reflection that reflects everything outside of it. It's a mirror. So it's when you look at mercury when it's liquid, you can see the reflection of everything that is around, but itself. But mercury itself, you cannot see the mercury. I mean, you see the form of it. You see the form of it existing within, the set of circumstances, variables, the set of physical elements, things. You see that it's there, but you do not see it because all it does is reflect you, right? It reflects you. So therefore, in a way, it's kind of elusive in that strange way, right? So I was thinking about, well, why does Terence McKenna specifically say that the S shape between the yin and the yang is a mercurial river? Why does he talk about it as it being mercurial? Well, this is going to be the first part because I have to expand on this and do some research, right? But one thing I have to say is symbolically, we think about mercury as in, well, symbolically, physically, let's just throw it out there. Mercury is a planet in our solar system, right? It is the closest planet to the sun. Therefore, it revolves. It revolves around the sun. It transits the sun faster than any planet in the solar system because it's closest to the sun, so it's able to go. It has a lot less distance in the circumference to cover than any other planet. So therefore, it's very fast. It's fast moving planet, in perspective to any planet behind it. Earth doesn't travel that fast. All right. And so in another way to think about it is that, and people, this is all connected. You have to know that this is connected. This is all connected. In mythology and in astrology and a lot of other schools and ways of thought, Mercury was also a god. He was a person, and it was a he. Or maybe it was some kind of hermaphrodite thing, but most often it's considered more masculine. It's a masculine air sign too. It's in astrology, it's an air sign. The two signs that are governed by Mercury are Virgo and Gemini. Virgo is an earth sign, Gemini is an air sign. So I don't know if I just said that Mercury is an air element. I didn't mean that. I don't think that's true. I don't know why I said that if I did. But the two signs are Gemini and Virgo and Gemini. Okay. Now, the reason why I particularly like to talk about this subject is because I am a Gemini sun sign with both a Virgo rising and a Virgo moon sign. Therefore, my three tiers of the sun, my ascendant or my rising sign, my sun sign, my ascendant and rising sign, and also my moon sign, which is particularly the three that are most likely to be known by a person about themselves. Some people don't even know their sun sign, but most people know their sun sign, which would be, your regular what month you were born in sign. There are a lot of people, but not as many, who know also either their moon or the rising or both. Your rising or your ascendant sign is particular to you and really comes out and is very visible. Your sun sign is visible. Your moon sign is emotionally visible. So these are three that a lot of people can relate to. So if I am a Gemini with a Virgo moon and a Virgo rising, that means all three of my most prominent, at least in the non-subtle way, in the way that people can see, all of my signs are ruled by Mercury, because it is only Gemini and Virgo that are ruled by the planet Mercury. So therefore, I can relate to Mercury a lot, because Mercury, and the characteristics of Mercury is that Mercury is very fast moving. He's a messenger. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. Therefore, he takes the word of God and basically is like the postman. But more so, I would say, like the politician, or the spokesperson. Let's not say politician. That's a dumb word for right now, at least. Until it gets better. It's kind of it's a tainted word. He is the spokesperson. And a lot of people if you look up the word prophet, the word prophet actually, in the definition, it says one of the words is spokesperson. Because a lot of people think prophet, somebody who, has visions of the future. Well, that could be true, but that person doesn't necessarily have to be able to have visions and know how to tell fortunes and can see into the future. The prophet doesn't personally have to do that, but a prophet could be a spokesperson, the middle person, the person who speaks for the gods. So here's a good way to think about it for anybody who knows the Bible. Aaron, who was Moses' brother. Moses was a visionary, right? Moses grew up in this really particular cray way, right? And Aaron was his real brother. He was Pharaoh, in the time that Moses led all the Israelites out into the desert. Was it Israelites? I hope I'm right here. I grew up super in knowing the Bible and stuff, but it's been a while since I've really studied it, which, by the way, I'm going to be doing very soon. So he led all the people, let's just call them people, out into the desert, and the way that he was able to convince Pharaoh, who was the brother that he grew up with, right? Because Moses was cast into the water by his mother in hopes of saving his life, and was found by the elder Pharaoh's wife. Was it Nefertiti? I don't know. I don't remember. But she found him, and they raised him as a baby with her other son, who was I forget the name right now too. God, I'm forgetting. But they raised them side by side, and Moses, supposedly, right? And Moses grew up in this privileged life, but then he somehow came to the knowledge that he was one of the one of the people who were being used as slaves. And so he was able to kind of connect with God, and God's like, you have the power. God's like, you are a Jew, and you have the power because you're the bridge between the Egyptians and your people, because you were raised in Pharaoh's house, and yet you are one of your people. And Pharaoh loves you, your father loves you, your mother loves you, your brother loves you. So they will listen to you. And if you help open their awareness and their eyes to the travesty that's going on with your people, your real mother, your real brother, your real blood people, they will listen to you more than they will listen to anybody else. So Moses, kind of automatically had an obligation. He had a calling, which was to, he was the diplomatic politician, really, who was called to help unenslave his people and help free them. But when it came down to it, Moses was a visionary, and he was the bridge. But when it came down to talking to his brother Pharaoh, who got very upset with Moses, because basically Moses was kind of abandoning his Egyptian family. So I kind of don't feel bad. I kind of understand why Pharaoh and stuff would be a little upset with Moses, or at least at the emotional body level. So Moses said to God, I cannot, I don't have the words. I'm not good with words. Like, I can understand, I'm sweet, but I'm timid with words. Like, I know what I need to do and I can do it and I can talk to my people, but I'm not good with words when it comes to, like, talking to the magistrate. And so God told him, supposedly, that he said, use your brother Aaron. Your brother Aaron is not the visionary that you are. However, he's very, very good with words, and he's very good at articulating them and speaking to a lot of people. Maybe Aaron's this like really flamboyant writer or something, and he just like has all these ideas, and he's always or an actor, he's just really, really good at conveying ideas. So therefore, Aaron was the messenger of Moses to the magistrate, because he literally he transmuted the message from Moses to the Pharaoh in a way that was able to be understood. So this is how we can understand what a prophet or a messenger is. I would say Moses was the prophet, but really a prophet is a messenger. All right, that was a very long explanation for what I'm really trying to say, because we're talking about Mercury being a messenger, or somebody who takes the wisdom of the gods and is able to translate it and transmute it into language and understanding, a way of understanding for the people. Okay, it's somebody that talks to the people about the message from the higher wisdom. So what is the Mecurial S in the middle of the Yin and Yang stand for? Well, if we talk about symbolically, when it comes to the symbolic godlike figure of Mercury, who is also this planetary system, who is closest to the light, to the sun, the source. Mercury, being closest to the source, must have absorbed way more light and source energy than any of the other planets. So if the planets, which they are, the planets are all beings. They're all super beings. I don't know if you know this, but it's like fucking obvious, right? That's why I used to fucking street that we're treating Earth the way that we do. Earth does not have the basic human rights that we do. Nobody's taking Earth into court and presenting Mama Earth as being the super being that's supporting us, and therefore we should have protected rights over the entirety of her. Blah blah blah, right? Well, so Mercury absorbs all this light from source. And Mercury, therefore, if all the planets as beings wanted to consult somebody about source, the first person they would go to would be Mercury, right? So the Mecurial S between the yin and the yang literally almost is. Okay, the yin and the yang are the two states of being. It's either light or dark, and the shades of gray are just the bodies of them. You know, the darkest of dark is is some point in the black of the yin, right? And the lightest of light is at some point in the white of the yang. We don't know where exactly that point is, but the only frame of reference that we have within the yin and yang is the middle S, right? So that would be the messenger between the light and the dark anyway, which would be the light and the dark are the creative forces. The middle of it is the S, which would be the translator for both of them, because they each speak different languages, right? They're both gods, but they speak different languages, so they need a translator. They need a messenger back and forth. And so Mercury would be this. If all the planets wanted to talk to Source, but couldn't get close enough because it was too hot, they would talk to Mercury. They would ask Mercury what they should do, because Mercury has the closest relationship with Source, right? In this way, Mercury has a lot of information and has a lot of things to offer. And this is why I think, in a way, we think about the middle way, the maybe not and the maybe so, as being a Mecurial element, or in the symbolic way, Mercury the planet or Mercury the god. Now, I hope that I've spelled that out clear enough. This is just my thoughts on it. Hope you liked it. Ow! Have a good night. Much love.